Have you ever wondered what really happens inside a woman's mind when you hit the right spot? I'm not just talking about nice words or generic messages. I'm talking about really activating the right emotional triggers, the ones that mess with her thoughts even when you're not around. This video is for you who are tired of trying to understand why she seems so close one moment and so far away the next. Maybe you've never learned the silent language of female psychology, the one that makes her remember your touch, your presence, your look, even without you saying anything. The truth is that most men fail not because of a lack of beauty, money, or status, but because they don't know how to win over a woman emotionally and strategically. And if you keep trying to be the nice guy who only sends good morning or reacts to her photos, you'll stay in the same place, confused, ignored, and frustrated. Now, if you want to turn this around and understand what triggers a woman's emotional desire, you need to dive with me into unfiltered female psychology. Here, there's no bullshit, there's no guesswork. It's emotional science applied directly to the battlefield of relationships. Women don't fall in love with someone who is available all the time. They connect emotionally with those who know how to create presence, mystery, and contrast. And that's exactly what you'll discover today. There is a type of communication that does not depend on words, but on intention. A way of playing, without touching, to speak without speaking. And when you understand that, she feels it. She feels something that she herself cannot explain. And that's when she starts thinking about you, imagining you, asking yourself, why can't I stop remembering him? You will understand why this effect is so powerful and how you can use it from now on. Because the moment you learn to apply this technique, the idea of being rejected by a woman will start to seem like an increasingly distant reality. And if you've gotten this far, it's because you already feel like you're at an above-average level. You are no longer looking for ready-made phrases or banal games. You want to understand what really moves a woman inside. And here you are part of a select group of men who think differently. Men who decided to master the art of emotional conquest with strategic intelligence. This isn't just a video. It's a transformation ritual. If you already understand that emotional presence is worth 1,000 words, then it proves that you are part of this brotherhood. Right here in the comments, I awaken desire with intelligence, or I am the man she never forgets. These are the codes of those who no longer accept being ignored, from someone who is writing a new story with their own hands. And when you comment, you connect with hundreds of other guys who, like you, have chosen to step out of the zone of doubt and into the zone of emotional control. Take advantage and leave your like now. Not out of politeness, but because this is content that gives you real value. And if you haven't signed up yet, sign up now, because the next videos will reveal details that can change not only your relationships, but even the way you position yourself in life. Men who truly understand female psychology don't ask for attention. They attract it, they dominate, and they often profit from it, emotionally and financially. So stay with us. The best is yet to come. And believe me, this has nothing to do with beauty, money, or status. The key is how you connect with the female emotional universe, with what she feels but never says. When you get it right that you don't need to chase, force messages, or try to prove your worth. The secret lies in how you activate certain specific, deep, and often unconscious emotions. It is at this level that feminine psychology applied to attraction works. It does not act on the surface, but on the layers that really control her behavior. It is there, in the mawathaus, invisible field of emotion and expectation, that the true power of attraction is born. Have you ever noticed how some words move her more than any attitude? How do certain looks say more than 1,000 ready-made sentences? This happens because her body and mind are programmed to react to certain emotional stimuli, which almost no man knows how to use with intention. And that's where you come in, not as just another, but as the man who understands, who provokes, who dominates the invisible. When you communicate based on emotional strategy and psychological language, you differentiate yourself from the 99% of men who live on autopilot. You stop being predictable and become unforgettable. It's this kind of silent power that she feels, even without knowing how to explain it. It's when she wonders why you stay in her head, even after hours, days. Why she finds herself rereading what you said, trying to understand what you meant with that look or with that silence. The truth is that women fall in love with the feeling you generate inside them. It's not about what you do, it's about how you make her feel. And when you understand this, you master not only the art of conquest, but also the control of desire. If you're with me this far, comment now. I awaken what it hides, or she thinks about me and doesn't understand why. Choose one of the phrases, write it in the comments, and show that you are part of this group that doesn't play in the dark. You're on the right channel, with the right community, at the right time. Let's move on. There's still a lot more to show you. And the most important thing is that this transformation starts with you. It's not about copying ready-made phrases or repeating behaviors you've seen in other guys. It's about understanding in depth how the female mind responds to invisible emotional stimuli. Most men try to impress on the outside, but what really marks a woman is what you provoke on the inside. And when you learn to mess with this emotional structure, which involves memories, insecurities, hidden desires, you stop being just another contact on her list. You become an emotional reference. You become the thought that she tries to control, but that insists on returning. This type of emotional connection cannot be forced. It needs to be built intelligently. And here, you are learning how to build it step by step. Based on applied female psychology, focusing on real, strategic, and lasting attraction. It's like planting, something in her mind that blooms even when you're not around. That's what happens when you learn to use silence as presence. When you understand that it's not her body that you need to conquer first, but the emotional field where she keeps everything that moves her. You will leave this video seeing details that previously went unnoticed. You'll start to notice patterns in her eyes, in the way she responds, in the time between one message and another. All of this will no longer be an enigma, and it will become a system you will master. And when you master this system, you begin to predict reactions, adjust your posture, change the game in your favor. Because whoever controls the emotional field controls the direction of the connection. And that, my brother, is true power. If this makes sense to you, write in the comments, I activate emotional desire, or she feels my absence as presence. These phrases are not just words. They are statements from someone who is committed to playing at another level. If you feel like this content is speaking directly to you, stay with me, because now comes the part where everything really starts to come together. The other day, a subscriber sent me a long message, full of frustration and doubt. He said, "Man, I was there. I sent her flowers. I listened to her. I didn't force anything. I treated her like a queen. And in the end, she just walked away. She started taking a while to respond. She got cold, and then she disappeared." I responded calmly and asked a single question. Do you know what she really felt towards you? On the other hand, silence, because that's exactly where most men go wrong. Many men think they're doing everything right, but they forget to understand what's happening on the female emotional level. This guy, like many, was kind, he was present, he was correct, but he was emotionally neutral. He delivered comfort when she needed intensity. It delivered predictability when what would arouse desire would be emotional contrast. And this is how silent rejection is born. Not because you are bad, but because you have become forgettable. She didn't feel what she needed to feel to place you in her emotional memory. Female psychology applied to attraction is not about pleasing. It's about provoking. It's about using emotional language, not logic. It's about creating feelings that make her think of you when she's lying in the dark, not just when you text her. And when you understand this difference, everything changes. If this has ever happened to you, or if you don't want to go through this again, comment below. I create emotional impact, or she feels my presence even in the silence. These words have power. They show that you understand what few men can see. Follow me, because now we are going to enter the exact point where everything begins to transform within it. This, that she feels, has no form, no exact name, but the effect is real. It's not about what you say, it's about how you exist in her presence. It's the vibration you transmit with your firm gaze, with the silence that doesn't beg, with the way you position yourself without seeking approval. When you master feminine psychology applied to attraction, you understand that her desire begins before touch. It starts with what you mentally provoke. The tone of your voice, for example, can trigger feelings of safety or excitement. The way you walk up to her, the way you hold her gaze without anxiety, communicates something that few men know: you are different. She feels this even without knowing how to explain it, and her body responds. Maybe she takes a deeper breath, maybe she looks away, maybe she gets restless. All of this happens before logic, because it's emotional, because it's instinctive. Comment here: I awaken the feminine instinct, or she feels my presence without understanding why. These sentences show that you understand the real game. Let's move on. There is a type of touch that doesn't need skin, doesn't need physical proximity. It's the emotional touch. And this is the most powerful of all, because it cuts through defenses, masks, and resistance. He gets right into the heart of her emotions. When you say something that triggers a memory, an old pain, or a silent need that she has held since long before she met you, you create connection, an invisible but deep bond. The secret of applied feminine psychology lies exactly in this: understanding what triggers her, emotional layers, and using this strategically. When you say, for example, "I understand your silence because I've felt it too," you are not just saying words. You are making her see herself in you. And more than that, making her feel like you understand her without her having to explain herself. This type of communication doesn't create ordinary attraction. It creates emotional desire. A desire that makes her think of you in the moments when she needs someone most. If this makes sense to you, comment, "I play where no one goes," or "She feels when I understand what she is silent about." Let's continue. When you stop treating all women the same and start seeing she as someone unique, something powerful happens. You activate the trigger of emotional belonging in it. It's not just what you say, but the intention behind the words. When you look into her eyes and convey, with your tone of voice, with your presence, that everything you are saying is for she, and only for her, you leave the ordinary and join the select group of unforgettable men. Most men want to please, want to impress, want to show value, but few know how to make a woman feel truly noticed. And that's the secret of strategic feminine psychology. You don't need to be the prettiest or the richest. You need to be what she feels like sees you inside. When you speak directly to her emotional universe, to the pains, doubts, and needs that she never had the courage to expose, she surrenders. Comment here: "I see beyond the body," or "She recognizes herself in my eyes." Let's continue, because now comes the most delicate and at the same time, most powerful part. When you know exactly the right moment to walk away, after triggering an intense emotion in her, you are not being absent. You are activating one of the most powerful triggers in female psychology, the search for emotional resolution. Her brain goes into an internal repetition cycle, trying to understand what happened, why you stopped, what you meant with that look or that last sentence. And that mystery doesn't create frustration, it creates desire. It's like a good song that stopped before the chorus. She needs the ending. She needs you back to complete what was left open. But this effect only happens if, before disappearing, you have left an emotional mark strong enough to make your name echo in her mind. Absence needs to have weight. You need to have memory. And when she does, you become the unresolved thought, the unfinished chapter, the man she needs to decipher. Comment here: "I am the mystery that holds," or "She seeks the ending that only I can give." Now comes the most intense moment. Stay with me. Remember the guy I told you about at the beginning? The one who thought he was doing everything right but couldn't keep her attention? Today, she texts him every night. Not because he changed who he is, but because he learned to use feminine psychology strategically. He understood that when you activate 3 elements at the same time, emotion, absence, and imagination, her brain can no longer ignore you. You become a kind of silent obsession. Even without being present, she begins to create stories with you, Remember the words you used. Try to decipher your gestures. Imagine what would happen next if you were there. This happens because you plant emotional ideas and leave room for them to grow within. And the more space, the more intensity. She starts looking for signs, scrolling through old conversations, interpreting your silence as if it were a riddle. Comment now. I am the story that she creates alone, or she feels me even when I'm not there. Let's move on, because the next step will put you ahead of 99% of men. If this video made you see something different, if any part of what I said made sense inside, hold on tight. Because what comes in part 2 will show you how to transform silence into an emotional weapon. You will understand why some women can't get certain men out of their heads even without receiving a single message. There is a sequence, an emotional logic behind it. And when you apply it strategically, she starts thinking about you in the most unlikely moments. During the shower, in traffic, before bed. Not because you are there, but because your absence has a presence. This is feminine psychology without a filter. It's not about illusion, it's about real, deep, and subtle emotional control. If you want to learn how to activate this recurring thought in her, come with me in the next part. But first, do what a smart man would do. Sign up now and activate the bell. This isn't just content, it's life transformation. And if you are here, it is because you are one of the few who are really ready to go further. Comment now. I am the absence she feels, or she thinks about me even without messages. Because the next step starts with you.